Hello. How's it going, everyone? Huh. Give me a minute here. Yes, late already. Hi. Sorry, it's been like, man, I have so much to catch up on you with. It's been like 3 weeks since the sip. Late plus chaser. Based. It's been like 3 weeks or something since the last sip. I think the last sip I did was before E3. And I took like 3 or 4 days off after E3 because Jesus, that was a lot of streams to do. I took a little bit of vacation after E3. I think I always do the vacation after E3. You know. Mm. Oh, everyone got your coffees? Get your coffees out, friends. Mm. There's just been a lot of stuff going on IRL. Um, I've had to deal with going back to my hometown and dealing with some stuff back there. That it just took time, you know. I had to be away. So there's been less streams and less videos, but I'm back in the saddle. I have like 4 scripts ready to go. I'm gonna try to record at least some of them between the end of the sip and the beginning of Skaven today. It was Jewel Band. What the fuck? Hold on. Charlie, $10. Thank you. Dev, I just wanted to say that thank you for the content you make. Your calm approach to learning and speaking reminded me of what I tried to base my own way of being at a young age. Love you, you fat fuck. Thanks, dude. The monthly gulp. God damn it, Stug. And Silver, Republicans are happy Justice Dank was appointed. Oh god, that was funny. There is going to be a Roe v. Wade video coming. Why is Jewel gone? Jewel gone? FDA orders Juul to stop selling e-cigs. What the fuck? Why? Did they keep exploding in people's faces? Last time Dev was this late and Naomi was pegging him. Thanks for the donations, guys. How many needles did you see in the streets? My hometown, the druggies stay inside. Now, if you're gonna go downtown in the city that I'm currently living in, fucking needles everywhere, dude. Needles are fucking everywhere. Mm. Brother Doom returned and still late. We don't want your lefty pro-choice view of abortion, Dev lols. My video, you've already heard like my philosophical take on abortion in previous videos. This video is probably going to be more like looking at the memes, because I did like the discussion of why I'm pro-choice and why I think like safe, legal, and rare was the appropriate compromise, because abortion seems to be a necessary evil. It's evil, but it is necessary. I think it's a worse evil to ban it. So you have to choose which evil you want. So that's why, I think third trimester abortions are, unless you absolutely need one, like morally reprehensible. They should be banned for elective. And people say that doesn't happen. It does happen. It's very rare, but it does happen. I knew one woman, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago, I knew a woman who had just hit her 8th month of pregnancy, and her and her boyfriend had broken up. So out of spite, she had the baby aborted. She managed. She shopped. She had. Here's the thing. To our credit, she couldn't easily find someone to do the abortion, but she found someone. And I think that's morally reprehensible. Like, that's not like a my body, my choice thing. That's a you're an evil person thing. But still, that's also the minority, right? Like most abortions happen in the first trimester. And also, on the other hand, and here's the thing: first trimester abortions are actually reasonably, they're reasonably accepted among the electorate. However, most abortions that happen are also not for medical reasons or for rape reasons or whatever. They're also elective, so it's a tough line to balance. Pro-abortion? No. I said abortion's a necessary evil. It's not good, but we still have to have at least some conception of it. I mean, prohibition proved you can't just blanket ban something that people want. C. Thomas for $5. Thank you. Makes you feel better. Horror cows have been most of my time while you were gone, which is the legend of Lee Tiddy. Well, I mean, I was still doing the gaming stuff. You could still always peep over there. Civic Camaro 78 for $5. If Dems are worried about Overville, hold on. Dems are worried about Overville being overturned, they should vote to make gay marriage legal. Well, they couldn't get 10 Republican votes, but they won't. Yeah, like, the Democrats are doing such stupid shit right now regarding their own policies. They're relying, rather than actually passing laws that elected representatives, like, they have to negotiate with for elected representatives. So that means that the electorate has a say, right? Like, you vote for your representative, you know, he negotiates with other representatives, you pass a law. That means that at least the people are involved in the process of crafting the law that governs this shit. Dems don't want to do that. They just want the judges to say blanket accept. And it's like, well, that's not democratic. Like, abortion and gay marriage should be done through legislation. Brother Doom for $5. Thank you. At least the overturning of Roe v. Wade gave the progs a chance to drop some pent-up hard R's. That will be part of the video, too. The Geth for $5. Safe, legal, and rare became abortion on demand, and my body, my choice is a joke post-COVID. This is the left sound making. Exactly, yeah. I was actually talking to a more left-leaning friend of mine recently, and I was like, listen, philosophy is still important. If you undermine your own arguments, you can't complain when, like, the uninvolved, unspeaking observer notices you being a hypocrite, and then you lose their support. Because that's most people. Most people aren't politically engaged, but they can smell bullshit. They can see it. They can see people saying, my body, my choice, and then turning around and the very next day and saying, take the vaccine, or else we're going to punish you. They can see the hypocrisy. Thanks, Ravinu. Welcome back, man. In every other Western country, the left fought for abortion in their parliaments and senates and won. The American left went for the easy win. It's 100%. Yeah, the American left has this habit of just wanting to do things by fiat rather than actually, like, philosophically grounding them. And it keeps blowing up in their fucking face. John Harker. My state just had its snapback abortion ban kick in. I'm happy with this fact. Let the states be states unto themselves. I mean, do you want the national divorce? Do you want 50 countries rather than like one? Trickovic, I got your package, dude. Thank you. And I do have fan art to look at, and I do have some videos to play, and I do have packages to open. But unfortunately, none of that shit is going to be happening on today's SIP. I might as well get into what's going on right now. Real Holtznayer for 5. Thank you. Interesting times? Yes. Yes. I've been gone for a bit. I've been doing lots of IRL stuff. That is mostly done now. I said at the start of the stream I had to go back to my parents' place in my hometown and help them with some things. And they helped me with some things, too. Naomi and I bought a car. So we had to basically go to a place where I could work on the car. I wasn't going to go and, like, pay a mechanic when I can go back to my parents' house where they have all the tools necessary. So we drove back. We visited. We fixed the car up. It's an old 2009 cheapo car that nonetheless had a very solid body. So it just needed some work done. And so my dad and I did the work. While I was there, I helped with some other things that my parents couldn't do because they're getting too old. I did some stuff with them for that. I also was off for a week doing the E3 streams. I hope you guys saw the E3 streams because I was doing that for like a week. I was streaming them on the main channel. It was actually a pretty fun time doing the E3 streams. I'm coming around to the opinion of, like, if I don't do something meaningful for SFO during the day, it's getting harder and harder to justify doing a gaming stream at night. Because the gaming stream I do to hang out. The gaming stream I do to, like, just have fun. I enjoy the project. I want it to take off, but, like, it's also fun for me in a way that, you know, reading books or making videos on this channel isn't. It's still fun. I enjoy doing this channel. I enjoy this job, but, like, it's a different kind of fun, right? Let's see. So Here's the thing: I don't know how to work on cars, but my dad does, and so I managed to get some understanding from him. Um, Also, I've been working on the garden as well. In fact, one of the main reasons I was a little bit late today for the sip is I was out in the garden doing some stuff. There was a big harvest of kale today. And I cut down a bunch of kale, and I brought that shit in. You'll see that in the video when it comes out, the next garden part. How are you guys enjoying the garden videos, by the way? I did the first part, which was the planting, and the second part, which was the hail part. Now I'm recording scenes for the third part. Hold on. I've been recording scenes for the third part, and I got basically the spinach is fucked. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do with spinach. But the kale's going really well. The pea vines, they're growing really well. The peppers are blooming a little bit earlier than I thought. So like it's been a pretty good garden so far. The rampant arrogance and hypocrisy from the left has gotten severely out of hand, and their collectivist divorce from reality doesn't help them either. Yeah, no, I agree. Regarding everyone keeps saying the trucker video isn't coming. Many of you aren't Canadian, so you're not watching this. So you're not like keeping your pulse on it anymore, keeping your finger on the pulse. But I mean, yes, part of it is being lazy, but also part of it is that there's actually moves against Trudeau right now. The Senate there was basically an investigation into his use of the act, and that is coming up soon. And that will be something that I think is very interesting to put in the video. I want to see what's going on. Basement hydroponics, really, Carlos? Dev poopy hand, yummy. Also, my grandma is like 92 or 93 or something. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, compatriot. I've split it into multiple parts this year. Usually I post one garden video just documenting the whole year's garden efforts, from opening the garden to planting to growing to harvesting and to closing the garden, all in one video. This year I'm doing multiple videos because my grandmother really likes the videos. And she's 92 or 93. And she's in very poor health. She might not actually last the rest of the year. So I wanted to get out at least some of the garden chronicles for her to watch before she dies. So that's why I've been kind of prioritizing the garden stuff a bit more this year than last year. Just Evans for $5. New plan, because California secede. Trick California stand nuking China. China nukes California in ocean retaliation. Both California and China are gone. Yeah, dude. Remember, $3. Wait, what? Does back? Of course I am, dude. Yeah. Most important garden video is making dinner with a tubcast and showing it. Here, the problem is right now, spread her ashes in the garden. Dude, she's like half the country away. I'm in Ontario. She's in Newfoundland. So, I grabbed the 3 big bags of kale. And what I like to do with those is I'll freeze them and I'll put them in soup or I'll put them in smoothies or something. But kale is extremely healthy. It's pretty tasty, and it grows like crazy. And you can easily save it. Like you can easily just freeze it. And you know what? All these fucking hipsters going to these grocery stores, they're buying kale at like ridiculous prices. Kale is the easiest plant I've ever grown. It's so easy. Like, I will never buy kale again. I haven't bought kale in 3 years. I've only grown my own kale. It's so good for you. Like, okay, yeah, hipster plant, haha, hipster food, fine. But you know what? It's healthy, it's tasty, it's easy to grow, and it's expensive. Why wouldn't I grow it? You know what I mean? Yeah, my stomach is gurgling. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm only having coffee right now. Good grandson, Dev. Many head bats. Thanks, Holzenhader. Charlie, based chaser underground Fallout hydroponics. What the fuck is that combo? Dev is the ultimate male specimen. Naomi's so lucky. I gotta lose like 50 pounds. I'm too fat right now. But thank you. Just so happens I lost my grandmother earlier this year, and I just lost my puppy. This isn't a good year for anyone, my good Maple Baron. I feel you. I'm sorry, dude. Things will look up eventually, you know? Yeah, so here's the thing with my spinach is kind of fucked right now. Um, the idea with spinach is that you have like a plant, and you snip the leaves off the plant, and if you snip the leaves religiously, it shouldn't go to seed because if it starts growing seeds, it'll stop growing leaves. However, if the seeds do start to appear, you can snip the seeds, but I've been snipping my plants like crazy, and they're only growing seeds. Now what the fuck happened? What happened? What happened to my? Why does I'm gonna look up right now? You know what? Fuck it. I got shit to do today. I have like 3 hours to finish up like 3 big projects, but fuck it. We're looking this up. Why did my spinach go to seed? Oh. I mean, you can still eat the spinach. It just tastes different. Too little water, too much heat. I guess spinach is just very temperamental, isn't it? Fuck. Too much plant stress will force seeding. Damn. That sucks. It got an abortion. I'm reading all your ideas, guys, but my spinach is kind of fucked. Can you grow kale in Baghdad? I'm not sure. I mean, probably. Eat the seed. You can't seed. You know what? I might just pull the spinach plants out. I might just pull the spinach plants out before it gets too late in the year to plant anything else and put like something in there. Something in the spot instead. Spinach can be very vulnerable to sudden temperature change or changes in the ground acidity. Oh. Okay. Damn. Maybe I'll find something else to put there. Maybe I'll put like a giant pepper plant or something. You know what? I'll head out on the next time I go out on an errands run. I'll go buy like a different plant. Grow avocados. Sell some of the kale you grow to Toronto hipsters, like local Toronto hipsters who come here to like go to school or something. The problem with asparagus is like um they take like 5 years to really root in. Grow chard, maybe. I could plant more lettuce, you know. Coffee's good. Okay, so basically, um, I'm back on in the saddle. All my IRL stuff is done and complete for the most part. I have one last trip to make this week, but after that, I'll be back. Um, I have like 3 or 4 videos that are pretty much almost completely written. I just got to record them. So I think I'll be doing that right after this stream, which is why I'm not doing any package opening or anything, because I only have so much time between now and Skaven. So, let's go! Thanks everyone for sticking by me. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the super chats. I appreciate everything you guys do to keep me afloat, even when I may not be around that day. Okay. When a plant switches to reproductive growth, it's called bolting. Spinach wants to make seed when it's hot. Yeah. $2. When can Dave come on the weekly sip? I want Mr. Dave. Okay, actually, I'll tell you one more thing that's actually kind of happening here. So you guys know that I hired my friend Dave. Dave is my co-host on Game Boomers, but I hired him to do some editing for this channel. All right. As the channel grows, and if you keep putting more work into it, Dave might actually be able to be a co-host, and maybe eventually even way down the line a host for some videos. So, for example, one of the things that I handed off to Dave is writing a script on Movie Bob. That's going to be an upcoming video. And I think what we'll do is to like introduce the SFO audience to Dave as a person. His first like real on camera or like on audio appearance for the politics stuff. Dave was very heavily involved in Game Boomers. He was very heavily involved in the original anime reviews of this channel like 10 plus years ago. But in terms of the politics stuff, he hasn't really been here. So to really kind of get Dave into the politics stuff, the first thing he'll probably do is he'll probably be the guy who reads the Movie Bob quotes for the Movie Bob video. I'm just going to do a full video on Vosh. Well, I posted Doomers. It's a pretty good video, isn't it? But yeah, a Movie Bob video is coming. And I think there's going to be like a bunch of quotations from Movie Bob that need to be put in the video. And I think, we're going to dip Dave's toes into being a presence on SFO. We'll start with him doing like the quotes of Movie Bob. The absolute shame in being introduced through Movie Bob. All right. So, let's get to the news. $5 from Holtzner. Thank you. Name a RuneScape character after the round. Eugenesis himself to see if anyone reacted. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Galaxy. Our long-term goal is to do something Red Letter Media styled. Hire a few friends, have a little lounge. Like, we'll still do politics stuff, but like, for example, I'm also writing a video on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And if we had more money, I would do like a little production out of that. So, thanks for supporting the channel, guys. And speaking of supporting the channel, do you want to join the $5 club in my Discord? Patreon, Subscribestar, YouTube memberships, and the Game Boomers sub button over on Twitch. Click any one of those four. That'll get you there, okay? That's a recurring $5 monthly tip so that the bot can put you in. If you drop $100 US to the PayPal, I'll put you in the $5 club for life. Also, there's the P.O. Box. And in the P.O. Box, if you send me your packages, I'll open them up on this show, just not this week. So, let's get to the articles. You guys ready? Hold on. There we go. Now we're ready. Okay, let's get to the articles. Triumph. The insult comic dog was detained last night by Capitol Police. Robert Smigel and 8 staffers for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert were arrested at the Capitol building. Oh my God. I'll read the super chats at the end, okay? The address was on the screen. You can go back and see it. But thanks. Super chats at the end. Presenting what we can only assume was a clear misunderstanding operating at the intersection of politics, safety, and entertainment, comedian Robert Smigel and several other staffers of CBS's Late Show with Stephen Colbert were reportedly detained last night while filming a Triumph the Insult Comic Dog segment at the U.S. Capitol. Smigel, who's voiced and operated the foul-mouthed puppet for the last 25 years, and the rest of the crew were detained while they were filming a few final scenes after a day of what's being reported as authorized shooting at the Capitol for Colbert's show. They literally staged a coup. Was it an insurrection? Oh no. On Wednesday, June 15th and Thursday, June 16th, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog was on site at the Capitol with a production team to record interviews for a comedy segment on behalf of The Late Show. The interviews at the Capitol were authorized and prearranged through congressional aides of the members interviewed. After leaving the members' offices on their last interview of the day, the production team stayed to film stand-ups and other final comedy elements in the halls where they were detained by Capitol Police. Security at the Capitol building has been significantly heightened for the last, let's say, 527 or so days. I'm assuming that's January 6th. 9 staffers on the show, including Smigel, were apparently arrested for unlawful entry and released overnight last night after a complaint was made about their presence. They were reportedly seen filming near the offices of California's Kevin McCarthy and Colorado's Lauren Boebert, about whom we're sure Triumph would have nothing but cordial things to say. So yeah, I guess they got detained for fucking around too much. Whoops. Yeah, everyone's making laughs about this and the January 6th. Fair enough. C. Thomas for $5. When you're finally back? Oh, good. I was wondering you just had my opinions fed to me. At least that's how the leftists think of me. But up. Thanks, man. And Diddler for $5. Thank you. Can't be starved for choice this week with all those people both openly and very poorly veiling calls for violence against anyone on the right. Dude, politics is a shit show right now. Fuck oof for $2. Hey, man, what's up? Good thing the ATF wasn't there. Thanks, dude. Check out this very rare and bizarre looking baby ghost shark. Oh my god. It's only days old. Look at this thing. Dude. What a weird little creature. Ghost sharks made news in 2016 when one of the enigmatic sea creatures was caught on camera for the first time. But more recently, a baby ghost shark was accidentally caught during a trawl survey of hoki, a type of white fish, off the coast of New Zealand. It's giving researchers a rare look at a youngster of the species. It's a very rare find. The ghost shark is known as a chimera. It's not a true shark, but it's related to sharks and rays. The fish start off as embryos in egg capsules on the ocean floor. The ghost shark was a newly hatched baby. You can tell this ghost shark recently hatched because it has a full belly of egg yolk. It's quite astonishing. Most deep-water ghost sharks are known adult specimens. Neonates are infrequently reported, so we know very little about them. I guess that's the egg yolk there. Maybe that's it there? Huh. Dude. Their eyes are backed with a reflective tissue layer that makes them seem to glow in the dark, contributing to an eerie, even ghost-like appearance. Man, it's really cool. I hope he's doing okay out of the water, though. Like, Human rubbish was found on Mars by the NASA rover. A discarded thermal blanket has been found on Mars by the NASA Perseverance rover. The rover's Twitter account posted a photo of the human-made rubbish trapped between rocks on the planet. My team has spotted something unexpected. It's a piece of a thermal blanket that they think may have come from my descent stage. The rocket-powered jetpack that set me down on landing day back in 2021. I'm going to assume that they're writing the tweet from the point of view of the rover. That shiny bit of foil is part of a thermal blanket, a material used to control temperatures. It's a surprise finding this year. My descent stage crashed about 2 kilometers away. Did this piece land here after that, or was it blown here by the wind? The aliens moved it, guys. That's what happened. Crazy, man. What do you guys think of the rovers, anyway? I think they're kind of neat. I've always liked spaceflight. I've always liked the idea of it. I've always liked the maybe not so much in like the extremely fantastical, hyper futuristic like Star Trek sense, especially since those shows have kind of gone downhill. But like, sometimes it's nice to think about what it would be like being somewhere else. You know what I mean? $2. Jasso Havens, thank you. Homeless camps are on Mars now. Ha! Ba-dum-bum. I have a feeling that they will find evidence of past life on Mars, but that life's gone at this point. I'm gonna have a feel. I'm guessing that. But yeah. Science is cool. I hate that phrase has been ruined, but it's true. You know what I mean? Yeah. I genuinely do believe that being a two planet or more species is important for our survival. And considering all the bullshit happening on Earth, sometimes it would be nice to just be somewhere else. You don't have to be caught up with anybody else's bullshit anymore. Besides, it's nice to truly go and see what's out there. We can't be explorers of our planet anymore. It's already happened. Las Vegas bartender robbed at gunpoint was forced to repay his boss's stolen money. That's some bullshit. Las Vegas bartender Robert at some point. Okay, here. Edward Parker was working the Lodge Hua Lape, whatever this is, early December 4th, 2020, when a gunman entered, ordered him to kneel on the ground and put his hands behind his head while the armed assailant took all the money that was at the bar. Edward was terrified, and during the ordeal, he feared for his life, as the gunman got away with $3,937. His bosses then presented him with a repayment form, and word that he'd be fired, he signed it. Jesus. Never signed that shit, dude. It alleges that his paycheck was docked $300 at a time before the nearly $4,000 debt was paid off by the end of June. Despite being forced into the repayment plan and suffering panic attacks and major anxiety, he kept working. In July, he was demoted to extra board status, meaning he'd only be used for on-call work. And he has never been asked to work there again. 2 people were arrested in connection with the robbery, and there is no evidence whatsoever that Edward knew these individuals or had anything to do with their actions. That's some fucking bullshit, dude. But yeah, like, do not sign this shit, okay? You know what? Here, I'll give you guys a little story, okay? At one point, I bought about $2,000 of equipment from a, was it? I don't want to give the wrong name. Yeah, you know, I don't remember, I remember what company it was, and I don't want to like slander the wrong company, so I'm not going to say who it was. But it was a tech company selling various like cameras and like computer parts and just like stuff that, you know, YouTubers might want in Canada, okay? And I bought about $2,000 of equipment from them. This was years ago. And I paid for them to have the delivery person come to the door, knock on the door, and I have to sign to get the package. I must sign for it. It was that kind of delivery. They weren't going to leave it on the porch. They weren't going to leave it in the box, in the mailbox. I had to sign for it. Okay. And so I paid, because this is a lot of money, you know. So I paid for this stuff, and then the package was just left on the porch, and then it got stolen off my front porch. So I was like, this is bullshit, isn't it? So I messaged them, and I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, why? Like, what happened? And they're like, I don't know. And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, do I get a refund? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, so I decided to get some information here. I go out, and I do it from you know, my computer. But I go, and I talk to somebody at, I think, was it FedEx? I think it was FedEx. And I say, listen, did these people, I'd like the order number, did these people actually pay for that level of shipping? And the FedEx people say no. No, they didn't. So they just took the fucking money and didn't actually pay for the level of shipping. And I got that like in writing from FedEx. And so I go back to them. I'm like, listen, you need to give me my fucking money back, because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. And they're like, okay. Wasn't Linus, no. Linus doesn't sell computer parts. Okay. So they're like, okay, we'll send you a claims form, and you can fill out the claims form, and then you can get your money back, and we'll refund you. And I'm like, okay. So they send me the claims form, and I'm looking through the form, and the form is like I read the fine print of the form, and the fine print basically says, if I sign this, I have absolutely no legal claim against them, and they don't have to pay me back. So this is the fuck you form. And I'm like, I'm not fucking signing this, dude. And then they're like, well, we can't give you the refund unless you sign it. And I'm like, oh, yes, you fucking can. And so I take all my evidence and I go to my credit card and I'm like, look at this shit, dude. Like, what the fuck? And it took like a year, but the credit card just gave me all the money back. But I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way I'm signing this. So like, when you're presented with this kind of thing, and they're bullying you to sign it because they know that it fucks you, don't sign it. Yeah, maybe you lose your job, maybe that sucks, but you know what? Down the road you'll be better off. Don't fucking sign it. Next up. Online porn should be banned, and it's long overdue. Thanks, Big Joe. For 30 years, we've let the internet harm children, society with porn. What I'm about to suggest will seem bizarre, maybe even impossible, but hear me out. The United States should seek to ban hardcore pornography from the internet. Good fucking luck. When anyone can just draw it and put it online, good luck. The most obvious reason to do this is that children are inundated with an avalanche of smut. We learned in a 2019 study from the British Board of Film Classification that 51% of 11 to 13-year-olds had seen pornography online. This means that tens of millions of very young children are watching hardcore porn because we have, as a society, frankly without much thought or discussion, decided to allow it. This despite the fact that one can still be arrested for handing pornography to a child, a magazine. These two things make no sense together. And it's not just kids. Pornography has a corrosive effect all over society, including for those in front of the camera. And it's not just porn either. It's the internet itself that exacerbates the problem. Porn has existed for centuries, pornographic movies for decades, but never before the internet was an endless panoply of sexual material at our fingertips every waking hour of the day. Well, that's because the internet has made everything into an endless avalanche of content every waking hour of the day. If you want, you can wake up at 3 a.m. and watch any YouTube video you want. You don't gotta wait for a show to air anymore, you know? Go to Netflix, watch any movie you want. You don't gotta go to the rental store anymore. This is not a porn problem. This is an internet thing. For 30 years, we have treated the internet like it's for some reason untouchable by the state. That includes social media and big tech censorship, as well as porn. The internet intersects with our daily lives so wholly now that this Wild West approach is simply no longer tenable. There is actually no reason why an information superhighway can't or shouldn't have rules of the road. Rules that protect kids from obscenity or stop important, accurate stories about laptops, for example, from being erased. Okay, so... yeah, I get it. Hunter Biden, I get it. Regarding porn. Would anyone actually object to, Pornhub having a login that has, 18 plus? You got to provide... Maybe not provide... You have to, put in your age. To be fair, though, Steam does that. People just put in whatever they want anyway. So, but at the same time, who wants to actually give Pornhub their ID? I'm not sure if this is a solvable problem, to be honest. Not without, massively violating the rights of adults. But you know what it is? You gotta parent your children. You gotta put blocks on their phones so they can't go to porn sites. You gotta watch what they're doing online, dude. I don't watch real people porn. I only look at hentai. Based. We do have some rules regarding child porn, fraud, identity theft, and defamation, name a few, but when it comes to pornography, our society has been oddly permissive. It's not oddly, because adults can watch porn if they want. Adults should be able to watch porn if they want. For decades now, the internet has felt like something that is happening to us, not something we control. Its ubiquity makes it seem immune to our will, but there is no a priori precept that says porn needs to be widely available for free with no age verification for anyone of any age to consume online. Well, I mean, fair enough, right? I remember being, underage, too young, and I managed to go on file sharing sites, or file sharing applications, programs as they were called back then, like Kazaa or LimeWire. You could type in whatever you want. You can get porn MPEGs. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. You could easily find porn videos. They were low quality because you were sharing them over that kind of network. But you could find porn. You could find uploads of hentai, no problem. Listen. pretty much every kid that I knew, except for like the really popular kids, every kid that I knew by the time we were like 14, we had all watched and laughed at Bible Black. And Bible Black was fucking hilariously bad because of the terrible English dub. But we had all downloaded that shit at some point from some website or from some file sharing service, and we had laughed uproariously at how like over the top ridiculous that was. All right. Yeah, banning it won't work. Banning it didn't work for anything else. It doesn't work. I mean, it's not going to work for abortion. That's just straight up. It's not going to work for abortion, and it didn't work for prohibition either. You know. All the girls look the same in Bible Black. Yeah, but they all had different hairstyles. That's what made it different. What is Bible Black? Oh God. Yeah, Bible Black is like the original crazy hentai. It's actually pretty tame by today's standards. This is back in like this is back like 15 years ago. Bible Black is basically a story about a woman who has demonic powers, who can grow a cock, and then she has to like make a deal with the devil, so she has to get like young virgins to sacrifice. So she works at a school, so she gets like a bunch of high schoolers and she just starts fucking them and doing like weird magic with them. It's a fucking like ridiculous show. It's so like in your face insane. It's actually really funny. Like the first time you watch like the dick just burst out of her vagina, it's like it's so like it's hilarious. It's like it's so just fucking over the top. Just oh, that was funny. Yeah, so Dave and I, way back in the day, back when SFO was an anime channel, we did we did reviews of both Bible Black and Boku no Pico, and I think those reviews are still on BitChute today. Oh yeah, the music. Dun, 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 dun. It was very like Catholic. Fuck. Anyway, here we go. American libertarian, armchair libertarians, hands thrown up, have said that there's nothing we can do to stop young people, kids from watching it. How can you even define it? They ask. The Supreme Court is famous and vague. I know it when I see it standard, but it can certainly be defined. This is not an epistemological quandary you need to surrender to. As to free speech, people are free to make porn, but they're responsible for where it goes. What does this mean? People who make porn are responsible for where it goes. So, if two people just shoot a porn video, and it gets like spread around online, and then it like goes into the underground, it goes into like Pirate Bay or something, and then comes back up on someone else's computer, then someone else uploads it to a site, and then a kid watches it. How is it that those people are responsible? Like it's insane. That's an insane way to put this. Yeah, this is. I understand their point of view because clearly, like, kids watching porn is bad. It should not be normalized. Yes. I'm very done with like the left's whole. The left's whole, we need to teach kids how to masturbate. We need to teach them to be comfortable with their bodies. We need to teach them what kink is. We need to teach them to like not be ashamed of who they are and what they like to do in bed. It's like, fuck you, they're children. They'll figure that shit out on themselves. You don't need to be this weird fucking quasi-pedophile adult. Even if you don't want to fuck the kids, you're like weirdly guiding them through their own sexual discovery. No, no, no. Kids should discover their sexuality on their own, in their own private lives, without adults coming in and guiding them. That's some weird fucking shit. Yeah, you know what? A 14-year-old boy is going to look at porn and be like, oh, Jesus Christ, and he's going to start immediately fucking masturbating because he's 14 years old. And that's probably not good. But you know what? It's worse if the parents are like, here you go, son. Here's what masturbation is. Here, go ahead. And it's like, Jesus Christ, all right? It's a weird situation where like some things should not be normalized And yet, even though they're not normalized, they should still be allowed to be done. So, like, no, you shouldn't normalize your own fucking weird sexual fetishes. But you can still have them, you know? Just because you do a thing in private does not mean that everyone needs to know that you do it in public. Yes, we're doing Skaven. Twisted Frenzy, thank you for the $5. But yeah. It's not just that, Swift Sword. It's more like the left doesn't understand middle ground. Either things are completely permissible and allowed and out there, and everyone's proud about it, and everything has to be, and everyone has to know about it, or it's banned and it's evil and it's hateful. And you have to bury it. There's no in between. There's no space where people can just be left alone. That's leftist logic right there. Dragon Fat, you're already gay. Shut up. Anyway, this person is also ridiculous, though, in my opinion. This is way too long of an article. But, yeah. I don't know how to solve this problem. But banning online porn because kids might see it, not the solution. Not the solution. You know the phrase, you don't ban an adult from eating a steak because a baby can't chew it? Something like that. Washington driver has been caught using a plastic skeleton as his passenger in a carpool lane. Look at this guy. He's going on a road trip with Bone Daddy. The Washington State Patrol said a driver using the high-occupancy vehicle lanes on a highway was stopped when a trooper realized the driver's only passenger was a plastic skeleton wearing a hoodie. Jesus. That's crazy. That's actually really smart, too. That's a really short article. Holy shit. Johnson shared a photo showing the passenger buckled into the front seat of the vehicle. Was a plastic skeleton disguised with a hooded sweatshirt. Johnson said that drivers in HOV lanes must have at least one human passenger, capping his Twitter post with hashtag gotta be alive. This is some Weekend at Bernie's shit, dude. Actually, wait. Is this like... Yeah, it's actually like a tweet. Does not count. Here, let's retweet that shit. Okay. Most male suicides in the U.S. show no link to mental health issues. This is kind of... I don't know what to think about this one. Majority of American men who die by suicide don't have any known history of mental health problems. What's striking about our study is the conspicuous absence of standard psychiatric markers of suicidality among a large number of males of all ages who die by suicide. For the study, Kaplan and his co-authors from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tracked recent suicide deaths among U.S. males aged 10 and older. They found that 60% of them had no documented mental health conditions. Further, males without a history of mental health issues died more frequently by firearms than those with known mental health issues, and many were found to have alcohol in their systems. So here's the thing. Alcohol really is like the source. You know, the prohibitionists were right about one thing. The alcohol is the source of like every fucking problem. All right? Do you want to reduce violent attacks? Get rid of alcohol. Want to reduce rapes? Get rid of alcohol. Most people who get raped are drunk. Most people who rape are drunk. All right? But at the same time, we have accepted as a society that even though there are these bad knock-on effects, the freedom to choose to drink is more important. Is more important. So men who have like no real problems but then get drunk, something happens, they decide to kill themselves because they're too drunk to know any better. That might just be a trade-off of living in a free society where you can choose to drink. Also, yeah, misadventure deaths ruled as suicide. Yeah, like, suit visual. Imagine you're, like, drunk as fuck. You, like, tie a rope to your leg. I can bungee jump, right? You jump off the building and you die. That's going to be a suicide. and there's no mental health problem involved. You're just a drunk retard. Yeah. But yeah, alcohol is the cause of and the solution to all of life's problems. No, listen. Prohibition doesn't work. Prohibition doesn't work. That's true. But even though prohibition doesn't work, that doesn't mean that suddenly the problems that alcohol causes disappear. That alcohol suddenly causes no problems. No, the problems are still there. Like you can't be ignorant of that fact. It's like with guns, right? Like, it is empirically true that widespread access to guns leads to more shootings. That's true. I mean, how could it be any other way? But you can't be like, no, it doesn't. No, no, no. No. You have to accept that that's a trade-off. Now, the trade-off is maybe more people die from shootings, but also you have the freedom to own a gun and to have self-defense. And maybe, if you need it to use against, say a tyrannical government, you have that fallback. The point of a intelligent gun conversation isn't to be like, no one ever gets hurt by gun. No. The point is to say we accept that there are some bad outcomes from people owning guns, but that is the trade-off that we are willing to make. It's the same thing with alcohol. It's the exact same thing with alcohol. Rusty Lives for $5. Boy, it's as if men are less likely to seek help in therapy or something. Yeah, maybe that's the case too, right? Yeah. But yeah, like you can't. Being pro something does not mean that you must ignore all of its bad side effects. It means that you must account for those bad side effects and show why the trade-off is worth it. Simply denying the bad side effects exist is ridiculous. Let's see here. Let's keep going. The report highlights the major public health challenge of addressing suicide among males, who are far more likely to die by suicide and less likely to have known mental health conditions than females. In 2019, males were 80% of all suicide deaths in the U.S., and suicide is the 8th leading cause of death among males 10 and older. Let's see. During 2016 to 2018, 70,000 American males died by suicide. More than 42,000 of them had no known mental health conditions. Let's see the age groups. Adolescents, young adults, middle-aged adults, older adults. Okay. Across all groups, those without known mental health conditions were less likely to have a history of contemplating or attempting suicide, or both, than those with such issues. In particular, young and middle-aged adults without known mental health conditions disclosed suicidal intent significantly less often. Males with no mental health history who died by suicide in 3 of 4 age groups, adolescents, young adults, and middle-aged men, more commonly experienced relationship problems, arguments, or other types of personal crises. Okay, so alcohol, girlfriend dumps you, you kill yourself. And before that night, you had absolutely no mental problems. What it sounds like is these people seem like they're unable to cope with a bad thing happening in their life. Liquor is called liquid courage for a reason. Yeah, dude. Yeah. No. I made that none of my arguments today were dumb. They were, in fact, smarter than most people. Every time I see, like, for example, a dumb gun nut who is like, there's no negative side effects of having widespread gun access. That guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. It's just... Okay. All right. Silva Camaro 78 for $5. So we should acknowledge watching SFO leads to increased levels of inceldom and stupidness. Doesn't mean we should ban devs at the trade-off. Yes. Yes. Jasso Havens for $5. Imagine a sober society. A drunk society is a complacent one. No alcohol, no tobacco. What would people even do at that point if they have no hobbies? I don't know, dude. Like, I don't drink. I seem to be doing pretty good. Speaking of drinking, I just finished coffee. I guess I'm a dumb gun nut. Okay, well, here. Sig 3X. Explain it to me then. Okay. Explain it to me. How is it that widespread gun access doesn't also lead to more shootings, because that's like tautologically true, dude. If there's no guns anywhere, if not a single person has a gun, who's doing the shooting? Like, it doesn't seem to make sense what you're saying. Caffeine addict? Yeah, I kind of am, to be honest, at this point. I drink like 2 big fat mugs of coffee a day. Anyway, they say that suicide prevention initiatives for males might benefit from comprehensive approaches focusing on age-specific stressors reported in the study, in addition to standard psychiatric markers. I hope they don't start just like checking in on men because they're men. That'd be kind of ridiculous. Okay, yeah. SIG 3X. Yes, I know there will never be no guns in the U.S., but that's not what I'm saying. You're not actually addressing what I said. What I'm saying is, in a society with 0 guns, what shootings are happening? Yes, I know the person doing the shooting is a government. I feel like none of you even listened to what I said. Okay, I didn't say that gun ownership is bad. I didn't say that gun ownership isn't a right. I didn't say that gun ownership isn't something that you shouldn't have access to, because you should. I'm saying that there are knock-on effects from widespread gun ownership, and those effects can be negative. Now, I think personally that those negative effects are worth it, but to simply say those negative effects don't exist, it's just stupid. Like, you're like denying reality at that point. I'm not okay. Hold on. When I say how many, oh God, I feel like you guys don't listen. When I say the phrase or the sentence, how many shootings would there be in a society with 0 guns? That's not me saying I want a society with 0 guns. That's me posing the question. I don't want a society with 0 guns. I'm just saying, if that were the case, what would it look like? All right? It feels like you guys think that when I say something, I want that thing. No, I'm exploring the idea. To imagine a world without guns is in and of itself a denial of reality. Joe Blow, then you have completely rejected the concept of the hypothetical, because every single hypothetical is a denial of reality. That's the point of a hypothetical situation. They all deny reality. They all posit an alternative reality where you may explore an idea. Oh, God. Yeah, it is a utopian hypothetical. It's supposed to be a utopian hypothetical. Like, the point of Vosh's Coconut Island is not that such a scenario is possible. It's not. It's insanely impossible. The point of the idea is to explore. The point of that story is to explore an idea. In a society where there are no guns, people who do the shooting will be the criminals who get a hold of guns illegally from tobacco markets and manufacture their own. Yes, Twisted Frenzy. But the point is that the more guns there are, the more opportunities there are for people to get shot, for people to shoot other people with them. That's just how it is. Like, how many shootings were there before guns were invented? Well, 0. That's the point, right? If alcohol, if like, for example, if a wizard appeared and snapped his fingers and suddenly all alcohol disappeared and alcohol was impossible to create, alcohol just didn't exist anymore, how many drunken incidents do you think would happen? Well, the answer is 0. There's no more alcohol. Like, all right. God. Yes, yes, a society with no guns would still be a violent society, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it wouldn't. No, Torvar. It has no practical application, that's true. But the point is that you have a scale of ideas that extend out into impractical realms. But yet with that scale, you can understand that there's something in the middle that's actually worthwhile. $10. Dev has a point. I mean, being pro-gun, I just accept that the scrap's going to happen. Society isn't doing it to minimize casualties. How many must die for my rights? All of them. Sorry, not sorry. Exactly. Just so happens. Okay, just so happens knows what he's talking about. All right. So it is absolutely the case that a society with more guns will be a society with more shootings. That's just how it is. Because with more guns, that's more chances that some idiot who's not using guns safely and responsibly will get a hold of them and then shoot people with them. Because he has more opportunity to do so. You can't say that doesn't happen. You can't say well, if you're like, oh, it doesn't happen. No, that's not how. That's just cope. You're just fucking coping, all right? But the intelligent, the Giga Chad reply, the patrician's response is to say, yes, a society with more guns does have more shootings, and you know what? That is a worthy trade-off. I will accept living in a realm with more shootings if it means that I get to have my guns. It's like, yes. Yes. That's how it is. I'm not ignoring the benefits that I'm not ignoring that people, like good guys with guns also save people. I'm not ignoring that. God, why do you keep looking into things? Like you're like reading between the lines, and I'm not saying any of the things that you're saying that I'm saying. Yeah. In this hypothetical world of yours, is the knowledge of alcohol or guns also wiped out? I mean, probably, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe our markers for suicide are biased for women's markers, and psychology is a female-dominated field. It's possible, but I don't know. What Dev is saying is that in a society where guns are easily available, more people will get guns, and the more people that get guns, the more likely that one of those people will misuse them. Yes. Yes, that's the case. I'm not obsessing over whether crimes are done with a gun or a knife. I'm not. I'm not. God. Super chat for your patience with people. For some reason, you all feel for what ifs. This is a Marvel TV show. Thanks, X Morbius. It's Morbin time, buddy. Thank you. Okay. Don't gun-free zones accrue more deaths than armed areas? Yeah, because people bring guns into the gun-free zone. That's kind of the point, right? If you make everywhere gun-free... Okay, the actual problem with the gun-free zone is that it's not actually gun-free. It's not like there's a fucking Tesla coil in the middle of it that, like, seeks out guns and then vaporizes them as soon as you walk into the area with the gun. Like, you're holding a gun, you walk in, it, like, vanishes. That doesn't happen. I'm with you, Dev, but perhaps for different reasons. I get the impression I've thought this stuff out more than you. Maybe you have. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. No. The chat is triggered. Yeah, kinda. I'm okay with that. Butter sticks? Fuck you. But yeah. No, I think the chat isn't triggered, but Dev is. Okay. I mean, it is definitely frustrating to have a chat room with a bunch of people where they put arguments that you're not saying in your mouth. Because at the end of the day, I'm still for gun ownership. I just accept the trade-off that means that there will probably be more gun crime as somebody is able to buy guns that shouldn't have them and then shoots people with them. But you know what? That is a trade-off I'm willing to live with. I would choose not bullet wounds over knife wounds any day. 9 millimeters and 5.56 millimeters were to neutralize targets, not necessarily kill. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, hold on. How many people have to die before you give up your guns? All of them. Yes. That's how it should be. You're not countering my argument because you're repeating my argument back to me and it's not what I'm saying. So, no. Here, let's keep going. I don't have time to keep going on this. Ancient Viking warrior given a hero's burial may have actually been transgender, non-binary, or gender fluid. Damn, dude. "3 years ago, the ornately dressed remains of a high-status Viking warrior from the mid-900s was discovered alongside swords, spears, and 2 slaughtered horses in Sweden. Following studies, it was assumed that the remains of the Viking warrior were those of a female, a finding that threw into question a once commonly accepted view that Vikings ascribed to traditional gender roles. Now, 3 years on, scholars are questioning whether the remains could have actually been those of a trans, non-binary, or gender-fluid person. The remains of a Viking may have been a trans man." What? "These issues are relevant beyond that one person in that one grave, but it threw into sharp relief how we make connections between the objects we find and gender. There's a question of how this person sees themselves. We think the most likely explanation of this, that this was a female warrior, but there are other ways of reading this. It may have been someone who, in our terms, was a trans man. The professor said that there is mounting evidence that Vikings did not see gender in the same strident binary way as society sees it today." Okay, I don't believe this, all right? Weren't Vikings known for, like, killing men and raping women? They would, like, they would rape women and bring them back and, like, make them have kids. Like, I don't... God. Do you think, like, Vikings would have not killed, but instead have just raped and taken back the village femboy? Is that the case? He noted that Vikings actually had laws forbidding men and women from dressing and behaving in ways that were not in line with the gender they were assigned at birth. The very existence of these laws, according to Professor Price, indicates that some Vikings must have been breaking them. Yeah, I don't buy this. Like, trans, non-binary, and gender fluid are modern ways of seeing things. I don't think they had conceptions of this. They just had, like, woman warrior or whatever, right? Video super chat? What? Silver Camaro. "Easy access to pizza will lead to more devs. It doesn't mean that we should ban the pizza, but we have to accept the fact that more devs will occur." Yes, that's how it is. So at some point I'm gonna have to do a video on are trans women, like that question, because it is a question that, like, begs an answer. I will say, though, just in general, when a trans woman says, "I am a woman," I'm inclined to respect their vision of themselves and to treat them the way they want to be treated. However, when a trans woman says, "I am a trans woman," I just think that that's kind of ridiculous, because in my opinion, people who suffer from gender dysphoria, they want to be the other gender. They want to be the other sex in many cases. So they're not identifying as trans women, they're identifying as women, right? It's like, I was born male, but I want to be a woman. Okay, fair enough. But someone who wants to be a trans woman is someone who wants to be not... Like wanting to be a woman means that you want to actually pass and stealth and blend into society and be a normal person as much as you can. But wanting to be a trans woman means that you want specifically to be in that in-between zone where you're still noticeable as not being part of the binary. So I feel like identifying as a trans woman versus being biologically male and identifying as a woman, those are two separate things. And one of them seems to be, in my opinion, significantly more legitimate than the other. Yeah. classic argument is that you don't indulge in schizophrenic delusions. The difference is, though, is that we have a working treatment for schizophrenia. We have like working treatments for like other types of body dysphoria. We don't seem to have any working treatments for gender dysphoria other than transitioning. If we did, it'd be a different conversation. We don't. It does not seem to. It doesn't seem to work. Now, the big question actually is like. The big question is, if we actually discovered a treatment for people with gender dysphoria that made them cis. So basically, you'd have less trans people. Like they'd be comfortable. Jesus Christ. Like they'd be comfortable as being the gender that's commonly associated with their birth sex. And we had that treatment. If that treatment actually existed, that means that there would be far less trans people around. But it would still be a treatment. Like it's a weird conversation because some people are like, I've talked to some people who have been like, no, if you convince a trans person to detransition and they don't feel like that they're actually trans anymore, that's one less trans person in the world, and you're contributing to the trans genocide. And it's like, shut up, man. Shut the fuck up. Like, if a hypothetical future exists where there's no trans people anymore because no one ever suffers from gender dysphoria ever again, even though transness is gone, that's still a good future. It's still less people suffering. Well, so everyone in here is everyone in the chat is being like, they're just delusional and you have to tell the truth. Okay, fair enough. Taftaj's point of view is one that I respect. Taftaj says, listen, here, you know what I'll do? Just so you guys know who we're talking about here. Let me get a non-porn picture of Taftaj because Jesus Christ. Taftaj is really cool. She's very smart and she's a friend of mine. And she's also trans. Okay? So let me just get a picture of her so we know what we're talking about, alright? So here's Taftaj, okay? She pretty much passes, like, very, very well. And she also says, I don't care if you think I'm a man. That's your business. As long as you leave me alone to do whatever I want, you can misgender me all you want. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't interfere in my life. Don't interfere in who I have sex with or who I'm dating. Don't interfere in my ability to own property or to have a job or to rent an apartment. Just leave me alone. And you know what? That's completely reasonable, isn't it? You don't need to call this person a woman. You just need to not interfere in her life. And it's like, yep, fair enough, right? God, look at the fucking chat now. It's like, is that a dude? What? Yes. It begins. But see, that's kind of the difference between a trans woman who identifies as a woman and a trans woman who identifies as a trans woman. Those are two different things. And I think the first is legitimate, and the second is where all the trans trenders and the weird fucking, like, women with beards go. Yeah. Giga Chad, I don't care what you think. Exactly. Her point of view is like, I never need to tell you my pronouns because you will be able to know by looking at me. And it's like, yes. That's how it should be. Yes, she has an OnlyFans. Look at how my entire chat has been very anti-trans, and now that Taftaj on the screen, they're like, oh, dude, where's the OnlyFans? But yeah, this is the trans position I respect. I don't respect the you must use my... Those people can fuck off. All right? Anyway. She's also cool. She's a friend of mine. I want to have her on the channel someday because she's very smart. Let's keep going. Speaking of trans stuff, World Swimming bans transgender athletes from women's events. They have adopted a new gender inclusion policy on Sunday that only permits swimmers who transition before the age of 12 to compete in women's sports. Regardless of how you feel about young people transitioning, in terms of the fairness of the sport, this seems to be the right call. Because if a person transitions before the age of 12, that means they haven't gone through a male puberty at all, so they have no actual advantage from that male puberty. That seems to be the way to make the situation fair. The organization has also proposed an open competition category. This is not saying that people are encouraged to transition by the age of 12. It's what the scientists are saying, that if you transition after the start of puberty, you have an advantage, which is unfair. And that's true. I did a video on this. I did a video exploring just the raw data on how much of advantage that trans women have over cis women if they transition if they transition after puberty. All right. If she's smart, then why does she do porn? Because there's a shit ton of money in it. The brain of a man and the body of a woman, the perfect being. Anyway. They're not saying that everyone should transition by the age of 11. That's ridiculous. You can't transition by that age in most countries, and hopefully you wouldn't be encouraged to. Basically, what they're saying is it's not feasible for people who have transitioned to compete without having an advantage. That's true. It's just true. Yes, guys, just look up Taftach. All right, here's how you spell her name. You want to see her porn? Go ahead. She also does like politics stuff on Twitch. She does both of them. So anyway. The FINA also proposed a new open competition category. The organization said it was setting up a new working group that will spend its next 6 months looking at the most effective way to set up a new category. The open competition would most likely mean more events, but those details need to be worked out. We need to include a lot of different people, including transgender athletes, to work out how it could work. There are no details of how it could work. The open category is something that will start being discussed tomorrow. Okay. So, of course, people are screaming about it. It's kind of funny. Like I've seen there's been some trans people. There have been some trans people who are like, the government shouldn't force this. The league should choose for themselves. And now that the league has chosen to do this, they're like, Ree! And it's like, this is what you wanted, dude. But anyway, this seems to be the correct choice. If you're a trans woman who wants to compete against cis women, you must have gone through 0 male puberty, which means transitioning before the age of 12. That seems correct to me. That seems correct. There's a couple of pictures of Taft in my Bemin Venus channel in the Discord for you coomers. You fucking coomers. Couple faces planning charge after growing vegetables in they're coming for the gardens, guys. A Lincolnshire couple have been ordered to pay £462 for planning permission to grow vegetables in their garden. They've spent £3,000 developing their patch in January so they could grow their own produce. They laid a new fence, laid gravel, and raised vegetable beds in an unfenced patch of lawn towards the rear of the garden. But while they confirmed that the land was part of their property through land registry records, they were unaware that they needed to apply for planning permission to do so. The district council told the couple that the part of the garden was classified as informal open space, meaning that the public should be able to access it freely. That's ridiculous, dude. That's fucking ridiculous. Officials ruled that the couple's transformation of the space was a change of use from open space to residential garden, and the pair have been told they need to apply for planning permission or face enforcement action. Jesus Christ. Satoshi was a reptiloid for 50 NOx. Thanks, man. Male category in sports is already open to any and all genders. That's true, actually, yeah. Knowing which... Okay, this is just how to do it, but this is bullshit, man. Like, fucking hell. You gotta pay to grow your own goddamn garden. European Union used taxpayer money for drag queens in youth education program. Oh, really? A report examining publicly available EU expenditures compiled by German MEP Nicholas Fest provided to Breitbart, this is a Breitbart article by the way, so they are biased, has found that at least 221,000 euros have been spent on drag queen projects and performances intended for young people. The program, which is intended to support youth in education, training, and sports, has an estimated 26.2 billion euros at its disposal. Taxpayer money has been revealed to have gone directly to funding drag LGBT projects, such as Dragtivism in Barcelona, Drag It Up in Berlin, and United with Pride in Slovenia. The Drag It Up project in Berlin in 2020, which received 21,000 euros in taxpayer money to educate 38 young queer people, was described by the European Commission as using non-formal and informal education to teach how to put on makeup and wigs, walking in high heels, and methods of blurring and exaggerating traditional binary gender roles. They will get to know the rich and diverse drag and queer scene in Berlin, and will learn about the historical, social, and political context of drag, queer activism, and queer art. The Z program for $20. Thank you. Replace the word gender with the word kink. The people that want to transition and be transgender, it's more that they have a trans kink. Their kink to be that amount of transgender. I don't agree with that, actually. Thanks for the $20. I appreciate it, but I don't agree with that point of view. I just don't like how it's always drag. And it's always highly sexualized drag. Like, drag is such a small component of being LGBT. It's like an almost non-existent component. In fact, most gay people don't want drag. Investigator Wimcombe for $10. Thank you. I don't care about trans women as not my problem with trans folk. I worry about trans men, gender non-conforming people, who are overwhelmingly female too. The experience of a trans woman is eternally different from those of trans men. Yeah, that's true. Actually, they're not really equivalent. There's definitely some differences. But thank you for the donations. Anyway, I'm just tired of the drag shit, man. Like, fuck. Bored museum security guard draws eyes on pricey Russian painting. Really? I guess, 1, why? 2, why is this a pricey painting? Fuck, dude. I don't see your super chat, Charlie. Sorry. Fucking hell. Artist Anna Leperskaya's 3 figures painting recently was on exhibit at the Yeltsin Center in Yekaterinburg, Russia. The faces on the 3 figures were blank, just suggesting the features until a bored security guard with a ballpoint pen decided 2 of them needed drawn-in eyes. Oops. Oh, that was his first day on the job. He was bored. His first day quickly became his last day as the guard got fired and the artwork was sent back to its Moscow gallery. A restoration expert says the damage can be repaired, according to a statement from the Yeltsin Center. Wow. Oops. The guard could face a $534 fine and a 1-year labor sentence. Okay. STIs can be fine. There's even one that's good. Catch the HIV, bigot. Jesus Christ. Hold on. Frida. I saw you in the chat earlier. Frida, are you there? Frida, you gotta listen to this fucking story. Sexually transmitted infections aren't some special class of hell virus. Contends Rachel Feltman, the executive editor of Popular Science and the author of Been There, Done That, A Rousing History of Sex. Okay. Rachel, what could possibly be good about a sexually transmitted infection? We have a weird line in the sand between things that are sexually transmitted and then stuff you don't have to feel bad about catching. We really think of STIs as being ickier than other infections. But sex is just one very efficient means of disease transmission. Just to talk about a recent news peg, there was that whole discussion about whether we should talk about monkeypox as being sexually transmitted. It's like, well, it's transmitted by skin to skin contact, specifically via sores in the infected person, and sometimes through bodily fluids. So, yes, having sex is a great way to get it. Having sex is also a great way to get COVID. Anything that you can get from someone's spit or by rubbing your skin and or mucous membranes all over each other's mucous membranes. You do those things during sex. No one should ever feel ashamed about anything they catch. But we all have this weight around STIs. It's not totally mysterious where that comes from. The AIDS epidemic is in our very recent cultural history. And America handled that horribly and used a lot of stigma and shame to try to ignore the problem going away. You know what? I recall Vosh saying that the last genocide that Americans ever committed was the AIDS epidemic against gay men, where Reagan refused to fund certain things. And it's like, is that a genocide? Vosh, you fucking moron. Satoshi, thanks for the 20. What's the name of the HIV STD catching fetish? Isn't that bug chasing? Isn't it bug chasing? All right. Jesus Christ. My mom is an OBGYN, and she once told me that the pictures of that a lot of people associate with what herpes outbreaks look like are from textbooks showing what herpes outbreaks look like in people who had full-blown AIDS. Like any infection when you're immunocompromised, of course you have the worst possible symptoms. That's just one very concrete example of how the way we talk about STIs, specifically in the U.S. and over the last few decades, is really based on the nightmare scenario of in terms of symptoms. Well, that's because no one wants a nightmare scenario. And if you get infected, you might have the nightmare scenario. So maybe you shouldn't get infected. I don't know who decided this, but they decided that you just wanted to convince. They decided you just wanted to convince high school students that they didn't want to be the kind of person who got HIV or herpes or chlamydia. You know what? I'm that person. I decided that I didn't want to be the kind of person who caught HIV or herpes or chlamydia. I decided that. Okay? I don't want to be that person. I don't think... It's not really unreasonable not to want to be that person, dude. Getting an STI is like ending up in a fender bender. It's just a thing that can happen, despite reasonable safety efforts. You know what? There are ways to avoid getting in a fender bender. There are also ways to avoid getting an STI. Oh. Okay. There are actually a few STIs, a couple in the greater animal kingdom and one in humans, that can have positive outcomes. Oh god, let's see the STI. We have a thriving microbiome. We are full of bacteria and fungi and other microbes. And some of them are really good for us, really important. We're also full of viruses. We have tons of viruses inside of us all the time. That's something we're just starting to understand. And a lot of them are benign. Some of them are important the same way that bacteria are important. There are some non-human species where some of the microbes that they pass around sexually actually do impart benefits. And we know of at least one in humans. It's a relative of hepatitis, GBVC. It's really common. And in most people, it seems to just float like many other aspects of our microbiome. But research has shown that those who carry this virus, if they're exposed to HIV, may have better outcomes. It has some kind of protective effect. Okay, so hold on. The greater outcome for having GPVC is that if you catch HIV, you might have a better time with it. I have a feeling that is a very niche benefit that probably isn't worth the hassle of catching it. In summary, get your hole paused. Okay. Ooh. Oof. That's a big oof, guys. I don't know. I don't know about this. That's a big oof. That's a big fucking oof. Aquafina. Who the fuck is this? Aquafina issues a statement addressing... Who the fuck sent me this? Addressing accusations that she has used a black scent. The comedian and actress Aquafina issued a lengthy Twitter statement. We have articles and fucking tweets nowadays. She used a black scent or a black accent and elements of African American language and mannerisms in her career. The Queens-born Asian American star explained her view of racial dynamics. Okay, we gotta see this. Okay. Let's see it for ourselves. Oh. She deleted her account. Okay. I don't even know who fucking Aquafina is. My immigrant background allowed me to carve an American identity off the movies and TV shows I watched, the children I went to public school with, and my undying love and respect for hip-hop. I think as a group, Asian Americans are still trying to figure out what that journey means for them, what is correct and where they don't belong. And although I'm still learning and doing that personal work, I know for sure I want to spend the rest of my career doing nothing but uplifting our communities. We do this first by failing, learning, acknowledging, and empathizing. And I will continue to try to do just that. So wait, you used a black accent as an Asian woman, and you're getting canceled? I fucking hate this world, guys. I fucking hate it. God damn it. Alright, you know what? I wanted to be out of here by 1:30 so I have enough time to actually do the next part, the next leg of the work today. So I think I'll do the final articles next week. I'm going to call it early. Sorry. Actually, it's an article. Usually SIPs run for about an hour and a half. It's just that we ranted, we argued so much, chat. I have to go do I have to do at least one project before Skaven comes up. So I'm going to leave, and these 5 articles remaining, I'll do them next week, okay? So, yep. Want to support the channel? There's the $5 club. Get yourself in it. $5 recurring monthly tip to Patreon, Subscribestar, YouTube memberships, or Twitch. $100 US to the PayPal. Put you in there for life. There's the P.O. box on screen. Send me your packages. We'll open them on the show. And I think, actually, I managed to get all the Super Chats in the middle of the stream. There's one from Charlie. Video idea for you. Why do progressives try to modernize savage cultures like Vikings being trans? Same with cannibalistic Native Americans and savage Africans. Because they view non-American culture as being inherently good because it's non-American. That's why. But yeah. Listen, chat, even though we disagreed, I don't hate any of you. It's fine for us to have good faith disagreements. We've been going for an hour and a half, dude. It's not, we're over already. Okay. I have to do at least one big project and maybe I haven't even eaten yet today. Do one big project and have some lunch before Skaven in an hour and a half. So head over to Arch's channel. Head over to Arch's channel in an hour and a half, and we're doing Skaven, as far as I know. And you know what? Hopefully I'll get enough work done that we can do a video tomorrow. I will see you next time, guys. Have a good one. I love you.